Hey friends, I'm Scott from Detroit Bikes, and congratulations on your purchase of your new E-Sparrow. Today I just wanted to kind of run through some of the basics with you, getting it out of the box, getting it together, ready for your ride, and then some of the care and some riding tips as well. As far as pulling it out of the box, it's going to be zip tied with a series of zip ties, all the parts kind of tied together and then to the box. You're just going to need to cut all those, pull it out. Your front wheel will be off, your battery will be in there, you'll find a pump, you'll find pedals, and as well as some tools to be doing this. So when you get your bike, the wheel's going to be off of the bike already. So I want to show you how to properly install that. Normally we wouldn't want to work too much with our bike upside down like this, but being that this is the first install, you'll probably be inside on carpet, I hope. If not, I would put something down so your controls don't get messed up at all, and just be real gentle. But having it upside down right now will help us make sure that we get this front wheel seated on properly. So for starters, we're going to just bring it in here and drop it right down. You want to make sure that your disc is going to line up between the calipers there, and then that your axle is going to land in your dropouts right there. So pretty simple, and that's set down right like that. So part of the reason why we have it upside down is to make sure that this is seated fully in those dropouts. If you don't, then the wheel won't be sitting centered or correctly in your fork. Once you have it in there, you have your quick release side and then your adjustable side. So what we want is this quick release is what's going to really clamp this down. So we want to bring our adjusting side in until our quick release starts engaging when it's perpendicular to the frame. We want it to start grabbing right there. So you keep trying that as you're screwing this side in over here until you start to feel that it's grabbing like that. Once you get to that point, you're going to go ahead and lock your quick release down. And now your front wheel is securely fastened in your fork. All right, our next step is going to be installing our pedals. I'm going to go ahead and pull this apart. To do so, you've been sent a tool. I'll also pull out right now. This one right here. And this is going to have the right size for you to put those pedals on. Being that this is a bit small, we do recommend, if you get the chance, to either, if you're able to procure a pedal wrench of a larger size, it's meant for bikes, we recommend doing so. You're going to get your pedal on a little bit tighter that way. If you don't want to do that, even just simply taking it by a bike shop and asking them if they can just tighten down your pedals, shouldn't be much money or anything at all. We just recommend doing that if you can, just so your pedals are on there. Definitely, we know they're on there tight enough. But this will get you, this will get them on for you. So as we pull our pedals out, each one is threaded a different direction depending on which side it goes on. We're going to, they're both labeled on the end of the spindle here. There's an R, and then this one has an L. So that's going to tell us which side they go on. The R is going to go on your drive side. Now, the nice thing is once you kind of get it going, you can essentially pedal the bike backwards with your wrench on the pedal, and that's going to tighten it down. If for some reason this isn't working, you might want to check that you actually have the right pedal for that side. When you actually get to the point where you tighten down, it's helpful to grab the other side crank if you can, and then really give that a good pull. And then we're going to do the same thing on the other side. You can do it from the same side of the bike, or you can go on the other side, but we're still, now this one's threaded the opposite direction. Till it's there, and then once again, grab the crank on the other side and give that as tight as you can get it, basically, with this little wrench. Now that we got our pedals installed, the next step is going to be adjusting our seat height. You've got another tool in your bag there for that. It's a 5mm Allen key. and that's going to go right into this right here, this bolt. To get just a rough idea of where you might want your saddle height to set, is one place to start off is to bring it right up to about your waist, just the top of your hip there. So this is maybe a little short on me. I'm going to go ahead and adjust this. Loosen it up till we can move. Bring your saddle up, make sure it's straight, and then we're going to tighten that back down. And with this small of a tool, basically as firmly as you can comfortably tighten that down. Should be plenty. And now we have a position to start from. Now if you take the bike for a short ride, what you want to check is that when the ball of your foot is on the pedal and the pedal's all the way down, that you have just a slight bend in your knee. Another way is if you actually put your heel on the pedal, that your leg would be completely straight. And that way you know that when you put that ball back there, you're going to get that slight bend. So take it for a ride, check that height. It also a little bit to do too, just with your personal preference, what feels comfortable for you. Yeah, and then come back, stop, readjust as needed until you find a comfortable position for your seat. All right, now I'm going to show you how to take your pump and put some air in your tire. On the E-Sparrows, they come with what's called a Presta valve. This is a little bit different than your classic Schrader valve. There's this little locking nut on here that you're going to need to back all the way off. And then we'll just press it in once just to sort of break the seal there. Now, if you take your pump, you're going to notice on the head here that you have two holes. You've got a bigger one for your classic Schrader valve and the smaller one for your Presta valve. So we're going to use the smaller one. With our lever out, we're going to go ahead and put this on as far as we can, and then we're going to lock that lever down. All right, and now we're locked on there, and we can start pumping. You kind of keep checking. You can kind of still even feel with your fingers. There's definitely some give. You can even come over here and just quickly a little more pressure. So a few more pumps. And we're good. It's definitely going to get a little bit harder to pump once you get to near that top level on these tires too. Once you're all set, we're going to go ahead and release this lever again. Take this off, and then we want to make sure and screw this little nut all the way back in. And you throw your cap back on, and you're all set. All right, now we're going to talk about our battery. We're going to talk about battery, charging care, removal, installation, all that. So it's going to come in this box. I'll pull our battery out. Out of the bag. This is what we've got. It's got your keys with it. The keys aren't necessary as far as like for the battery to work or anything. They just lock it and unlock it onto the bike. So have those set aside. So we have our power switch. The line means on, circled off. We also have our port where we're going to be able to plug in our charger. When the battery powered is on, you have this button here that lets you see what your charge looks like on your battery as well. So these chargers are good for 110 or 220. There's nothing that you need to change on here. It will automatically adjust. After you pull it out, you want to make sure, we're going to go ahead and push this into there. This can be kind of a tight fit, so make sure you get it all the way in there, because if you don't, it might not fully connect and you wouldn't charge. If you find that for some reason you're not getting a charge going to your battery, you might want to check that connection is one thing. Now here's a little thing. Your battery only charges if it's in the on position. So once you charge it in, if you don't see, if it doesn't look like it's charging at all, turn it into the on position. a red light means that it's charging. If you get a green light that then switches to red, that means that your battery is charged. Or if you get just a solid green light, that means there's no charge going to your battery, so you want to check your connection. These batteries take about 4 to 6 hours to charge. You don't want to leave your charger just sitting on all night or for long extended period of time. That can wear your charger down. When done charging, make sure to unplug, turn everything off, turn your battery off. And you want to, if you're going to store the battery, you want to store your battery fully charged. And if you are just storing to charge it up every 30 to 60 days, we'll keep it topped off. And speaking of topping off, it is okay to top off these batteries. They don't have a memory. So after every ride, it is recommended to just top it off, so that way if you either end up just storing it or you're going out for a ride the next day, you're all ready to go. Once we get the battery all charged up, we can install it on our bike. It's a pretty simple process. Basically, we're going to bring it down here. And you'll see these 3 kind of notches here, and we want those to line up with these notches here. Essentially, the bottom here is going to kind of put it on about 1 inch away from the very bottom edge of this, and that should be right around the right space for that to just slide on very nicely. And then that's it. And once you have it on there, then we can take our keys, come around on this other side, and then we can use our key to lock our battery in place. All right, now that we've got our battery installed and everything else, we're ready to go. So let's see how we get this thing started up. First and foremost, before you start up your turn on your battery or anything, it is recommended that you actually mount the bike first. So I'm going to go ahead and do that. Once you've mounted the bike, you go ahead and turn your battery on. And then right here we have our throttle mount. And on top of that is the power switch here. We want to press that. And first it's going to show red, and then it's going to show green. If you have 3 green, that means that your battery is essentially fully charged. Each of these green lights roughly represents about 1/3 of your battery life. So once everything is on, we're ready to ride. One tip is when you're starting off from a stop position, is to, when you use your throttle, and this is your throttle right here, you push it down and it's going to start to go. Is that when you start off, it's recommended to actually pedal along with it, so that way that the initial starts and then also heading up hills can take a significant amount, drain your battery more. So just to give it a little assistance with pedaling at those times will help you a great deal. The brakes also send a signal that cut the power to the battery. So if you're ever feeling like something's not working, and keep in mind that if you have those brake levers pulled at all, that's going to cut off that power. So keep that in mind. Yeah, again, keep your eye on your battery levels as you're out riding. The nice thing about this bike too is that if you do completely run out of battery power, that it is still able to pedal this bike with somewhat ease. So if you do run out of your battery and you're out and about, you still will be able to get home with your own power. Another tip for keeping the most battery power that you can is to try to keep a constant speed as you ride, not a lot of speeding up and slowing down as much as possible. That will also help the range of your battery. These batteries have a 25-mile range. However, weather, wind, and hills will also affect that range. So just keep that in mind, and again, keep your eye on your indicators. Rain will not hurt the battery, but with that said, definitely try to keep it as dry as you can. All right, and then when we're back from our ride, just simple to turn the bike off. We're going to go ahead and hold this button down. It's going to turn red, and then that red's going to go off. Then you can pull your finger off, and then when you're done with that, you can go ahead and flip your switch off on your battery. And then now's a good time then, once again, to go unlock your battery. Slide it off. And you can take that in, get that charged up for your next ride or to store it. If you need any more information, any more questions, please don't hesitate to give us a call. Our number's on our webpage. Also, we do have a manual available on the webpage. Highly recommend you check that out, reading through that and getting a little more acquainted with the ins and outs of your E-Sparrow. Happy riding.